Karen, did you actually? He just liked it, so he'll be joining in about 3 seconds, maybe like 5.
What?
Hello, Jennifer. How are we doing? Okay, that would have been so cool if he joined as soon as I did that. It's with technology, I find it's a delayed reaction time, so it'll be kicking in a few seconds.
What?
There it is right there. You see that?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
David, thank you for joining us, man. How you doing?
What's poppin', brother? How you doing, man? I'm doing great.
I'm doing pretty good as well, brother. Thank you for coming on. Everyone is so fucking excited for you to be here, man.
I'm excited to be here with everybody. What's going on, guys?
Hey, thank you for being here.
Hello. What's poppin'? What's poppin'? Let's have some fun.
All right, awesome. So we have people already prepared with questions for you. So we're just going to go, everyone's just going to physically raise your hand and he'll just call on you for your questions. Cool?
Sounds cool. Wait, let me make sure I can see everybody here. Okay, cool. I got everybody now. Okay, cool.
All right, Sergio, let's start off with you, man.
Great. So how's it going?
Doing great, man. How about you?
Being great. I'm right now getting clients in Miami by going out, networking, and doing things like that. So it's amazing to learn hypnosis. And yeah, so my question is, how do you hypnotize someone that is like skeptical and that is resisting the idea of getting hypnotized?
That's a great question. How do you hypnotize someone who's skeptical and resistant to the idea of getting hypnotized? That's the question, right?
Yeah. What type of like things you do so that they go in and so that they follow your instructions?
Yeah, cool. So I'm going to answer this in layers because there's different ways that I approach this. But so the very short answer is I generally don't bother trying to hypnotize people who are going to resist me. However, there's to that. But for the way I perceive hypnosis, for me, hypnosis is a gift. If I'm coming up to you as a hypnotist and I'm wanting to hypnotize you, I'm wanting to gift you with access to more of your unconscious potential, to more of your own mind. So for me, that's a gift. And if you don't want to receive the gift, I'm okay with that, right? So I approach it from that mindset when I'm going up to the people on the street. And also when you're on the street doing street hypnosis, you don't have so much time to finagle people to get hypnotized, right? So that's number one. Number one is if people are really that resistant, I don't even bother with them. I respect where they're at. Now, on the flip side, if, back when I was first getting into hypnosis, like 10, 12 years ago, I used to be very relentless, so no matter who wanted to get hypnotized, no matter how resistant they were, I would literally spend an hour if I had to trying to get them into the state. And what I've just learned is what's most important is if you're going to work with someone who is resistant and who wants to but doesn't know if they can do it, but they're resisting you and there's all these games happening, step one for me is making them see that as long as they believe that they can't get hypnotized and it's a challenge and there's a challenge dynamic set up, this won't work. I make sure first and foremost that they understand that this is a dance. I'm the GPS, you're the driver. So if I'm giving you the GPS direction saying, close your eyes, relax, you can choose as the driver not to follow those instructions, but then you won't end up at the destination called hypnosis. Does that make sense? So I'll use a reframe if need be, so it goes from a challenge dynamic to a collaboration dynamic of GPS and the driver.
Thank you.
Perfect, man. Does that answer it for you?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Awesome, brother. Cool. Who else we got? Yes. What's your name over here? Marvin. What's poppin', bro?
Thanks, man. So I watched a couple of your videos. This is not necessarily like a related question with hypnosis, but I'm more interested in why you chose like Atlantis or Thoth, those kinds of words, right? When you started your business.
That's a great question. The simple answer is because I'm also a psychic. So I've been doing psychic work since, well, I guess you could say professionally since 2012. But since I was a kid, I was always able to see, hear, and feel spirits and angels and all that type of thing. And so the very simple reason behind Thoth and Atlantis is because that's a very direct experience of mine. It's a little bit weird to talk about it in the hypnosis group, but I had a very direct experience with Thoth where he, just out of curiosity, how many of you guys listening know who Thoth is? Just so I know who's on the same page. Okay, we got like two, kind of, sort of. Okay, 3, 4, some of you. Okay, so let me just bring everyone on the same page so we could take this ride together at least. So Thoth is known as, if you
Explicit by Bryson Tiller on Amazon Music.
My Alexa is going off. Alexa, stop. All right, I'm gonna keep my mic muted.
Alexa, stop that shit. So if you have any interest in ancient Egypt or Atlantis, chances are you would have come across the name Thoth. And so he's known as the god of magic and wisdom, and writer of the Emerald Tablets and whatnot. So I ended up having a very direct experience with Thoth on October 1st, 2015, where he literally showed up to me in my reality, let me know that we were going to be doing certain channeling together and mentoring, and certain memories came back through that experience. And so the reason why I made that video about Thoth and Atlantis was because he had let me know that we were going to be doing a series of 7 events together that each serve as a rite of passage experience for the people who attend. Basically all around stepping into your greatest self, your fullest self, and developing your spiritual gifts. So that's the very short and simple explanation as to why I have a Thoth event there, is just because it's a direct experience. It's not marketing. It's not, you know, I keep everything 100% authentic. And, but yeah, that's the why.
Thank you.
Cool. I wasn't sure how to answer that in a very summarized form, but hopefully that gives you a complete answer. Did that answer your question, or did you have more?
Oh yeah, I think it's cool.
Okay, cool. All right, thanks, Marvin.
Awesome. Okay, so who else has a question? Otherwise, David is going to just randomly start picking on you and putting you on the spot.
Yes, I will. Very gladly. Bradley, what's popping?
Hey David, how you going, man? Good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
What age did you start hypnotizing people? Which age?
Which age? I was 21. I was 21. It was in 2008. I didn't think I was going to be learning hypnosis. I had been a street magician at this point for a long time.
Well, yep.
Yep, I started doing street magic at 16 and saw David Blaine on TV. That's what I wanted to do. And at one point, one of David Blaine's teachers saw my magic videos on YouTube and invited me out to Las Vegas for an advanced training. And there just so happened to be these 2 master hypnotists there who are basically known as the world's fastest hypnotists. They know how to hypnotize anyone in less than a second. And so, yeah, so they have this powerful technique known as Zap. And that was my introduction to hypnosis, you know, so I didn't even know that it was supposed to take 15 to 20 minutes and you know, go through all these things. You know, my first lesson was it's supposed to take less than a second. And so that was the foundation in my mind. And I ended up getting hypnotized by a 12-year-old kid, which was the world. He was the world's fastest, him and his father. And, you know, when you get hypnotized by a 12-year-old, it kind of makes you ask some questions.
Yeah, like, what?
Yeah, you know, and so they shared this very powerful principle behind their hypnosis, which was simply confuse the mind, shock the body. That was the premise behind their hypnosis, is confuse the mind, shock the body. You know, so with the Zap technique, what they would do is they would, you know, just pretty much go up to you and say, hey, in a moment when I say the word sleep, you're going to fall like a sack of potatoes. Is that okay? Say yes. And so you'd be like, say, you know, you're like, yeah. And then they take your hand, and then the confuse the mind part is that they would just say, look at me and take a deep breath in. So you don't really know why you're doing it. So you're in a more of a confused state. And then the shock the body is the shock induction. So they would just pull your arm very rapidly, say sleep. And and it worked very well on me. And I was one of those people who thought like, you know, I can't be hypnotized, my mind's too strong, and all these things that everybody says, right?
Yes.
And what was most amazing was when they taught me the technique, I was going around the room doing it to everybody, and every single person went into a deep trance. And so that began my obsession with hypnosis, because I couldn't understand for the life of me why it was working. You know, it's like, I understand, I pull your arm, I say sleep, it does these things, but why is it working? And so it was that question that drove my obsession of mastering hypnosis and bringing me to where I am today.
That's great. Thanks for the question. Answer. That's great, man.
Of course, brother. Lots of love. Cool. Who else we got? Don't you all raise your hands at once. It's all good. Okay, I'm just going to pick on people. Jennifer, what's going on?
Hey, I knew you'd pick me. I was like, he's totally going to pick me right now.
I knew you knew. I knew you knew that I know that I'm going to pick you.
I don't know. I don't really know what questions to ask you. I think it's really cool that you do psychic readings, because I'm into that kind of stuff too, like trying to develop my own abilities.
So
it's really cool that you were born with that.
As we all are.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, we tend to develop amnesia as we go along, as we forget. You start to forget about your gifts as a child, and then you forget that you forgot, which is amnesia. Right?
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any specific questions.
Real quick, Jennifer, I know you have a ton of fucking questions.
Do I?
Yeah, you do. So tell him what you do, what you're doing right now, and even without a question, one will either come to your mind or he will find one that's in your mind. Okay, yes. So just tell him your process right now.
Give me your intuitive question.
What I'm doing for my business? Or what?
Not what you're doing for your business. Your business is a byproduct of what you're doing for people. Ask him questions about that.
Oh, what I'm doing for people? Okay. So I'm starting this program, and it's to facilitate, I call myself a healing acceleration coach, and it's to facilitate people's healing by understanding in a deeper way the way emotions are processed and how people are blocking themselves from healing by resisting what they're experiencing, and they don't even realize they're resisting it. So it's kind of like a full 12-week program to guide them through a deeper understanding, and exercises and techniques to kind of retrain their system to be able to process emotions as they happen, because that's how I learned how to heal myself, through my own traumas, and experiencing a bunch of different healing techniques and modalities. And that's how I started to get into energy healing, because it was part of my healing journey.
Beautiful.
So yeah, so that's what I'm doing now.
That's amazing. And so do you have an intuitive question, or even just comment that you want to open a conversation on? It doesn't even necessarily have to be strictly about hypnosis.
I don't know. Maybe you ask me a question and then something will come to me.
Real quick,
we're doing some role reversal. All right, cool.
Real quick, Jennifer, on our first call, remember our first phone call, I had you imagine something, and it just gave you the words that you were trying to find. So real quick, you want to do a little exercise? And by the way, every single person here, if you get on a sales call with someone and you're trying to figure out someone's pain, this is the best way to find the answer. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Close your eyes real quick. Okay. I want you to imagine the sun. And as you focus on the sun, the power of the sun, the energy of the sun, you realize it's not actually the sun at all. Rather, it is just a giant, powerful sphere of words floating around, rapidly shooting past each other, making up this ball of energy. And I do not want you to do anything other than focus on that ball of words and allow those words to form a question. Whatever question forms first, ask it. Don't question that question. Just ask the question. Once it comes out and forms in your mind, say it now as it lowers down. What words do you see? What question pops up in your mind?
Will I win the lottery?
Okay. I don't know. The question that formed was, what do you believe is my purpose?
Oh, cool.
Okay. I'm gonna let you guide this, David. I'm gonna let you guide this.
Cool. Yeah. I actually love that question. So this will tie into Thoth, or to what me and Marvin were talking about.
Yeah.
So I received a very powerful message on my 30th birthday. I'm 33 currently, and I was at a point in my life where I was very, very focused on just helping people. That's all I was doing, you know, whether it was through hypnosis or intuitive guidance or whatever the case may be. And I was experiencing that, you know, as much as I was helping people, my life wasn't feeling as alive and abundant as I know it could. And I became aware at some point that I was actually helping, you know, as much as I was helping people from a genuine space, there was a part of me that was helping people because it was easier than helping myself. And that took a lot of self-honesty to even be able to discover. And then at some point when I was in meditation one time at my cottage, Thoth came in and he showed me the image of the sun, actually, to tie it now back into Tyler. Look at this, synchronicity. Showed me the image of the sun, and he said the words very clearly: you're not here to help people, you're just here to shine, just like the sun. And as a side effect, you're going to help people, heal people, inspire, and bring joy. But the sun in and of itself doesn't focus on helping people. Like if it sees you cold in the window, it's not just going to amp up its rays just to warm you up, right? All it does, it shine. So in terms of our purpose, what I believe is that if you want to know your purpose, just look at the sun, right? Our purpose is to shine. It's to be the unique you, as fully as expressed as you possibly can be, as alive as you can be. And as a side effect, you're going to help people, heal people, and bring joy. So that's what I would answer as what your purpose is.
Nice. That's really awesome. I'm like tearing up. That's so beautiful.
Amazing. And I like how we just weaved a whole bunch of things together with that one.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah,
that really does help clarify. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a follow-up question, or is that good?
No, that's good because I guess like I'm just starting to get into this business, so I'm starting to, you know, put in effort towards creating something, and yeah, I guess it's like the idea of like, okay, like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Like, is this like helping people, whatever? But when it changes from that to just being my fullest self and shining, and through that people are helped, like that really just kind of changes the whole game. You know what I mean?
Yes, amazing. Could I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What makes you feel most alive? What's your highest excitement?
I mean, I really get excited about, or I feel like it used to be like spirituality, just understanding deeper and sharing those insights with people, and like people are just like, wow, like that's so amazing, or I really want to talk more with you, like just they just want to know more about my ideas and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it came to like starting my business, it was like, okay, so like people aren't going to pay for that, people are going to pay for their transformation. So then I was like, okay, so then how can I bring this down to like a tangible results oriented thing for people? So then I was like, okay, healing, and like I taught myself how to heal, so I have all this knowledge and understanding, so I can help people, and then through that they start to expand their awareness of like of energy and perception and filters of perception and whatever, and how they create their own experience from themselves. And then through that they start to gain a deeper understanding of, I guess, the way reality works.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately my passion is just talking about just like the deeper understanding of what's behind this experience, you know?
Beautiful. And so and this could be a question for everyone here listening. You know, because that's one of the questions I ask any one of my personal clients or even just friends is, you know, how much do you follow your highest excitement in your everyday life? You know, do you have any intuitions or inspirations that you've been keeping on the back burner? right? You know, maybe there's been something you've been just receiving and receiving and receiving, but you're like, oh yeah, I'll get back to it later. When really that's the thing that will open up the floodgates of abundance and synchronicity for you. It's the thing that makes you feel most alive. That's why you're receiving that message, you know, because when we do act on our highest excitement, if you think about it, when we act on our excitement, that energy connects us to more of ourselves. That makes us feel more alive. It makes us feel more creative. It makes us feel more inspired, puts us more in flow. So it allows us to show up more effortlessly with the abundance of ourself, so that we can shine and impact the world around us. You know, so a question that I would invite everyone here to meditate on, or just to receive, is what's your highest excitement? And are there any intuitions or inspirations that you've been putting on the back burner? If so, go do that shit.
Yeah. Nice.
Cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
My pleasure. Who else we got?
All right, real quick. Okay. So going forward, as soon as someone says thank you, a hand shoots up. Actually, like 6 hands shoot up. And actually, ready for this? Before you have a question, your hand should be shooting up, because just the opportunity to ask a question is worth putting your hand in the air and figuring it out after. Okay, so thank you.
I was just hitting them with the suggestions.
Okay, but Mariah, awesome. You can unmute your mic and ask.
Yeah. Hi. I was wondering about your psychic abilities. How do you use them in hypnosis? Do you use them when you have a client in hypnosis and feel into that client and feel into the core belief system of that client and helps the client in that way? Or how do you mix it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So generally these days, I rarely even use hypnosis in my sessions anymore, because I can get that information that I'm looking for intuitively. But in essence, what I use my gifts for is to perceive their unconscious patterns, to see whatever unconscious blockages they might have. You know, so as they're speaking about something, I'll see where the unconscious block is, but I'll also feel the contrast. So I'll feel the problem as well as the solution. So generally that's how I'll use my gifts, is I'll just get a sense of what's blocking them. And I just, you know, it's the same kind of thing. Like if I was talking to you and working with you on something, and I felt I felt a truth inside of you that maybe was unconscious to you. If I were to reflect that back to you and be like, actually, I think you're thinking this. I think it's, you know, it's rooted in this. You would feel a sense of resonance and be like, oh, wow, I didn't see that. That's, you know, that's a game changer, right? You know, and I'm kind of giving like a hypothetical example here, but that's generally how I use my gifts, is I'll just reflect truth back to the person so that they could feel it as well. And then that allows us to unpack and explore from there. Now, with that, how many of you guys here do hypnotherapy or change work, just out of curiosity? Even if it's just, you know, even if you're not a professional, but you like to help people. All right, cool. More hands. Okay, yeah. So have you had the experience, have you noticed that when you're putting someone into trance and you're helping them, because you have that rapport with them, because you're so connected with them, and because you have such compassion towards them, you start to get information that you're not sure how you know. Like you could feel their feelings in a deeper way, you can sense their underlying thoughts in a different way, and you might even get downloads of information that they need to hear. Who has that experience? Perfect. Basically all of you. So that is what I'm referring to as our psychic senses, because there's no thought process behind that. We're not like analyzing and figuring things out. They just kind of, it drops in effortlessly. So what your psychic gifts are, it's the ability to consciously access that at will, which is ignited by rapport, connection, compassion, genuine interest, genuine curiosity. These are the ingredients that ignite your intuitive gifts, your spiritual gifts, psychic gifts, whatever label you want to put on there, doesn't matter. But those are the things that ignite it. One of the things, there's very, very many things, but so that's how I use my gifts. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Mike, what's poppin'?
Hey, great being with you today. It's really been an interesting time. Thanks for taking the time to be here. This is my first call. I'm just interested to know a little bit about your background. I mean, you say you were doing street magic at 16.
Yep.
So what was life like that brought you to doing street magic, and now you're doing this work?
Yeah, great question. To be honest, I was so the reason why I got into magic and performance was because when I was in high school, I used to get bullied a lot. And it was mainly lots of like psychological bullying, not so much physical, but it was lots of just making fun of who I am and my personality traits and that kind of thing. And it didn't really phase me in the sense of like trauma, but it just made me, all I really wanted was a way to connect with people. I went to, for elementary school, I was pretty much the only black kid in a Jewish school. I was in a private Jewish school, and I didn't notice the color of my skin because I was actually very welcomed there. And then in high school, I went to a predominantly black school and very quickly learned that I wasn't like the other black kids. We were raised different. And so I got bullied for that. I got bullied by the other black kids. And all I was really looking for was ways with connecting, to connect with people. I just wanted friends. And I saw that everyone who had friends, the popular kids, they all had a thing, whether they were a rapper or a basketball player, or, they all had this thing that made them special. So I was looking for my thing, and I tried a bunch of different things. I tried the basketball and the stuff, and it just didn't hit me. And then one day, just as I was kind of giving up, I was in the basement of my house, and my mom yelled down the stairs. This is when I was 16, and she was just like, David, turn on the TV. There's this new magician on TV you have to see named David Blaine. And I was just like, he's probably just going to try and copy David Copperfield. I don't want to see him. I was kind of like down and out. And she's like, no, you don't understand. He's doing street magic. And I had never heard of street magic. And I just turned on the TV, and it was just this instant, like, that's what I want to do. So for me, it was just, discovering this tool that was fun and that allowed me to create this bridge between me and the life that I wanted and the people and friends that I wanted. And so from there, I just continued on the entertainer path, and eventually, just having the heart that I have, that led to, helping people, just because as you do things like, as I'm sure as you guys experience, as you do things like hypnosis and you blow minds, they'll start to ask questions of like, well, can you help me with my emotions? Can you help with cigarettes? So it started to open the door towards other things and leading to the work that I do now.
Well, I wish you all the best. It was really great to hear you today. And I can just see and feel your just some amazing energy from you. It's really been awesome to be on this today. Thank you.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Sergio.
Hello. So I wanted to ask you, what are some different ways to hypnotize someone to have a long-lasting change in a session? For example, like if someone is a client of mine,
yes,
is paying me like $1,000 for a session, like what can I do to, like, what are some different ways to hypnotize them to actually give them the change they want?
Yeah, great question. If they give you $1,000, what are you gonna do? So first of all, I'll say, like, the money doesn't matter. Like, if like, money's great, yeah, sure. I mean, but if someone, and I actually say this for a point, if someone came up to me and was just like, I'll give you $5,000 to help me, I still don't know if they're a good client or not. I still don't know if they're ready to receive help. I still don't know, they might just have a lot of money and be desperate, but it's actually going to be the most agonizing, draining session of my life. So the money doesn't mean anything to me. What I actually care about is how committed they are to helping themselves. Are they as committed to helping themselves as I am to helping them? So that's number one. And, in terms of methods, I mean, there's whole trainings for these things, but I'll give you the essence behind one of my methods. So I had this modality come to me literally in my sleep back in 2012 called soul medicine. I was falling asleep, and these words soul medicine just played in my mind, and I woke up and I'm like, that's what I meant to do. And I had no idea what it was. And then as in the days that followed, I ended up getting downloads in terms of what it was. And it's a method that I developed to help people permanently alleviate emotional trauma and suffering in one session, permanently. And so which is a big claim, because I know a lot of traditional hypnotherapy and even like, you know, energy healing techniques can't say that, you know, because it, you know, they might help the person, but then maybe a few weeks or a few months later, the thing comes back, right? So I'll give you the essence behind it, for whatever it might serve you. So I want you to understand that when people have emotional suffering, when people have emotional trauma, we'll use the word karma, okay? Karma for me is just another word for emotional baggage. I like to simplify things. So it's an emotional inertia, an emotional baggage that you've built up. You know, so let's just say, in my case, I had, when I was doing this healing with myself, I had a money block, and I just had this resistance towards money, and I just like, no, money's bad. And then, but subconsciously, what I learned was that I was relating money to my dad. And I had a lot of resent towards my dad because he stole money from me and my mom. And so that resent got carried forth in my subconscious, not just towards my father, but to anything that he was related to, and in this case, money. And so I was keeping it away. So my resent was preventing me from receiving what I was saying I wanted. So that resent was my karma. That was my emotional baggage, my inertia. Now, there are 3 simple steps to permanently release emotional baggage. 3 simple steps. They are understand, accept, forgive. Those are the 3 steps to permanently release emotional karma. And I'll break it down a little bit more. The understand piece is understanding the purpose that it served. You know, whatever that trauma that happened, it's understanding what it taught you, the importance of, how it made you a better person. It's basically getting to a place inside yourself where you're actually grateful for the thing that happened. So in my scenario with my dad, you know, I used to have a lot of resent because I've seen him beat my mom, I've seen him cheat on her, and I've seen lots of bad things. And, you know, and so I had a lot of resent. But when I went through this process with myself in terms of understanding the purpose that it served, what I saw was, as a kid, I looked up to my dad so much and was so influenced by him that if he didn't hurt me, I would have grown up to be a man just like him, because I wanted nothing more than to be a daddy's boy, right? And so when I saw that, you know, clearly I'm like, well, I definitely don't want to be a man like my dad. And so because he did those things, I saw that it actually taught me to be a man of integrity, who loves women, who loves to grow himself. So it made me see it made me understand the purpose behind that pain and get to a point of like, oh, I'm actually grateful that this happened, because otherwise I would have been like him. So there's the understand portion. I got the understand. The accept portion is accepting that whatever happened needed to happen in the way that it happened. Otherwise I wouldn't have understood what I understood. Does that make sense? And then finally, the final piece is forgive. And this is where a lot of people get tripped up, because it's not just forgiving whoever did something to you, it's actually forgiving yourself. That's actually the most important part. It's forgiving yourself for not knowing it any better. It's okay that I didn't know that this is why these things happen to me. It's okay that I didn't see these things earlier, because now I do see, right? So that's a very, very summarized version of my soul medicine process, but it's understand, accept, forgive is a very, very powerful framework to bring people through, to help them through traumatic situations. So that's one way that you can help.
Thank you.
For sure. Was that useful?
Yeah, it's like a reframe, because you accept the emotion, like what happened, you understand it, and
Absolutely.
you use it to be grateful for it instead of beating yourself up for that emotion, you know?
Absolutely.
So you more confident to be more worthy and to actually accept yourself even more. So that's great. Thank you.
Absolutely. You know, and just to speak to that a little more, you know, for me, that's the whole point. You know, a lot of traditional old school, you know, even like hypnosis and NLP will use techniques to trick the mind so that you don't feel a certain emotion anymore. For me, that's not valuable. For me, I don't want that, because, you know, if you have a pain inside of you, that pain is actually a power. You know, the reason why my soul medicine is a permanent solution is because I'm not actually getting rid of the pain, I'm enlightening it. I'm turning it from a heavy feeling into a lighter feeling, so it has the broader perspective within it. That's why it's a permanent solution. You know, so I believe not in getting rid of emotions, but just enlightening them, transcending them, so that you can experience more of you and more of your potential and become a more complete being.
Embracing them.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Cool. Who else we got? Zarak. Am I pronouncing that? Zarak Moishe. Zarach.
Pretty good, pretty good. Yeah, so just
How do I
this
say,
just sounds.
how do
You
I say
said
your
it good
name?
enough. Zerach, like the ch in German.
Zerach. Got it.
Yeah, cool. Oh, you did pretty good. So, um, uh, just to follow up on this question, this dynamic that you were saying about, but what I don't get, and I'm always like having a challenge with, is that pretty much that your analysis of how to do it is good. It's one of the best summations I've heard of it. I've heard it in different versions. It's pretty much out there. But you said you can guarantee to do this in one time. How?
Yes.
Like how is, because I mean that thing of doing that is great, but if the person has many traumas, it's not just necessarily just that one. I'm asking.
Right.
I'm like,
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm definitely not solving all their problems.
right. In other words, you're saying that in one session you can take care of one trauma issue.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's good. I'm okay with that.
No.
I'm asking you for approval, but
I'm definitely not like getting rid of every single one of your problems in one session. That would be amazing, but that's not what I could do.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm looking. That's the magic bullet. I think we're all looking for, right? To save as much time as possible. Because I've had that experience too. But usually people, they have their issues are more than just one thing. You very rarely does someone come to me and say, look, I just have a problem. I'm afraid of flying on an airplane. Like that usually can find one thing, like this happened, that happened. So you take away one thing and another thing, but there's usually a lot of stuff going on. You know what I mean?
I'll give you a principle that I like to work with that I think you'll appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
And this has come again from everything I share is from my own experience. So what I started to notice, there came a time in my life where I discovered what's known as inner work, right? Basically I discovered that it's possible to release our insecurities and our pains, and it's not just something you just have to suppress and deal with. So
yeah, for sure.
Then, so I got, I was excited when I found that, and I was very happy to be able to release things, and I was obsessed with it for like 5 years. And then I started to realize that my life, as much as I was doing things, my life was constantly going up, down, up, down. It was like I would find a flaw or a limitation or a pain inside myself. I would release it and heal it. I would have this high. I would feel good. And then a few days later or a week later, another problem would surface. And then I'm like, and now I'm fixing something else, right? So my life was on this constant up, down, up, down.
Right.
So I started to get a sense that I'm in an illusion. There's an illusion at play. There's an unconscious illusion at play that I'm not seeing. And what that illusion was that, and we know this all as hypnotists, is that if I was constantly focusing on what's wrong with me, on my problems, life could only give me more problems to fix. Right? So even if I'm focusing on fixing a problem, my focus is still on problems. So I'm just going to attract more problems to fix, hence the up-down cycle. So instead, what I realized is this principle, which is, instead of focusing on my problems, I started to focus on my power and my desires. In other words, just to give it a label, my higher self. Where my principle is that the sooner you connect to your higher self, the sooner you release lower self issues. So I'll give you an example from my own life.
Well, that's a different strategy then. That's not saying, okay, I'm going to go deal with this issue and release it, but I'm going to just connect higher up and they'll fade away. I mean, that is something that, okay, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no, it is a different strategy that allows for more lightness. And so you're not bypassing your problems, you're not ignoring them, but you're allowing them to surface when it's time for them to be released rather than looking for them.
Mhm.
And, so, to give the example from my own life, there was a time a few years ago where I went through a breakup, and, I was having a hard time. So I was trying to do the forgiveness work and the release work and all these things. And even though I was clearing things, as much clarity as I was getting, I just felt numb. I just felt kind of like, I just felt numb and very serious. And then I realized, I'm like, wait a second, I'm focusing on my problems. I'm like, what feeling am I actually most wanting to feel? What's my higher self feeling? And the answer for me was just fun. I really just wanted to have fun. I missed having fun. So let's imagine that my vibration, my energy was over here. And then I was like, I really want to have fun. And we'll say fun is over here. Now, so instead of focusing on fixing my problems, I went towards having fun and I let go of that. And then as I went towards having fun, naturally my vibration increased. And then as I got into the fun vibration, inspirations came in and realizations came in spontaneously, which gave me answers to the problems I was looking for without me having to look for them. Does that make sense? Right? So it's because I got into the higher vibration, I was having fun. All of a sudden, like, there was just a thought that dropped in my mind. I'm like, oh, wait, I didn't think of that. Yeah, that makes more sense. And I started to release my problems automatically as opposed to looking for it. And so what that allows for when you focus on your power and desire as opposed to problems, instead of going up, down with your life, it's more of a gradual rise, where like that. So it's, so that could be something, you can focus on with your clients where they might come to you with their problems, but also explore, well, what is their desire? What is their soul calling in for more of? Are they looking to experience more freedom, more aliveness, more wildness, right? So that way, if you set their subconscious focus on that, they can attract more of that.
My subjective experience has been that basically it depends on the client. Some of them really need to release like bad stuff and get it out of their system. And some people, it's more like that. Like both those strategies are valid depending on where that person is.
Yes.
And sometimes it's like the first is, in Hebrew there's a saying, Surmi Rav Asetov, to get away from the bad and then do good. So like sometimes they peel away the bad stuff and then then cling to the good, right?
Yes.
So that if there was a way to what's the word in English? What would you do first would be first to clear off the junk, and then the second thing is to attach to the higher self. So that's cool. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I agree with that, because sometimes you're in you could be like a butterfly tied to a rock. I'm sure you guys have seen that imagery. It's like sometimes you're in that point where you're wanting to step into more freedom, but you have a heaviness that you need to release first, right? So yeah, that's where discernment comes in. Absolutely.
Can I keep asking another question? Is that okay? Where is I don't know where Taylor went to. Tyler. Anyway.
I'm still here, man.
Yeah. Continue.
Yeah, you can ask another question, brother. If David's up.
One more question, just about the psychic stuff.
Sure.
So like, did you do something in particular to get to this psychic ability, or is it just something that came to you? Because I find that I don't really work in that way at all, sort of even on purpose. I'm just interested in a critique. Because like I don't want to, like, they're not coming to me to do that. Like there are psychics that people go to ask for advice. So I like if I want someone like to check me out and tell me what you think I should be doing, that's different than try to help me release something. I'm just curious where you make the distinction between psychic reading or advice and helping someone get rid of their junk or attach to their higher self, as we were saying.
Right. So is your question how did I connect to my gifts? Or
two things. How did you connect your gifts? And two, like how do you integrate that with it seems to me like apples and oranges. In other words, there's going to someone that you hope or think that they or believe that they have what I mean, a ability, and so you're going to them to get advice from their ability. And then there's the other thing of going to someone to release stuff, like, in other words, hypnosis is sort of like super high octane, much more effective psychology. And psychic reading is more like going to a career counselor, only with more, super high level career counselor.
Right. Yeah.
So to say.
They go hand in hand. So I'll answer because they're just hypnosis, psychic ability, anything. They're just tools, right? What matters is the being. So,
Right.
so to answer the first part of the question, so my path was such that, you know, I was very, very in tune as a child and for a good part growing up. Then I went through pain, shut down my gifts, and then it wasn't until I was 25 that I went through a reconnection process. So I'll give you the very simple and practical way, the step one way that everyone here can do that. Okay. So the step one is realizing, so I want you to imagine that everyone here is already connected to their gifts. It's nothing more that you have to do, but just I want you to imagine your consciousness is like a radio station. And when you're a child, when you're in tune with your childlike essence, you're on a certain radio station in your consciousness. You know, that's why kids can, you know, see imaginary friends or perceive angels or whatever the case may be. You're on a certain radio station in your consciousness when you're in tune with your essence. Then you often get conditioned by family and society to become more tough, more rigid, more guarded, more analytical, more resistant, more serious, right? So you start to change your inner radio station. So it's not that your gifts aren't there, it's just you're on a different radio station. So the idea, step one, is to, and you could literally take a piece of paper and do this. If you were to take a piece of paper and you're going to look at who, the sooner you, here's the idea that works with this, is the sooner you let go of who you think you need to be, the sooner you become more of who you truly are again. Right? And so what I would suggest, if you guys want a really practical way of doing this, is get a piece of paper, you're going to draw a line down the middle, and on one side, on the left side, you'll write who I think I need to be, and on the right side, who I truly am. So you might write tough, serious, professional, guarded, proper, and what all these, you know, things that you think you need to be. And then on the other side, you're gonna have the contrast of who you truly am. You're like, I'm not tough. I'm actually really like sensitive and silly and all these. So you're starting to bring your awareness to your essence again. And so as you do this, you'll naturally start to let go of what no longer serves you. And whatever you can't let go of, it's just because you have an emotional tie to it, and that requires a little bit more work. But I'm just giving you the basics now. So you do that exercise, who you think you are versus who you truly are. And that will start to shift your radio station. And then what you can do is, I actually have an activation on my YouTube channel. If you guys go on my YouTube channel and type in my name, David Lyon Soul Magic, there's a hypnosis activation that I offer that reignites your gifts within you. And it works off a very practical idea, which is pretty much everyone here, when we're children and we go through pain or fears and pain, often we don't know how to deal with it. So what we do is we numb ourselves. We're like, I don't know how to deal with this pain, so we numb our pain. Could you guys relate to this? Everyone following me? Yeah. So we go through our pain, we numb ourselves, and we numb certain feelings, but what we don't realize is that we're also numbing certain sensitivities of ours, certain sensors of ours. You know, so and so we forget that we numbed those senses, and then forget that we forgot. That's the whole amnesia thing. So what this soul magic activation does, after you do the first part of the exercise, what the soul magic activation does is it uses intention and hypnosis and focus to resensitize and to re-stimulate all your dormant, numbed senses in your body. So we'll literally go from your feet all the way to the tip of your head, and I have a very particular way of guiding this, where I serve like a tuning fork. Since I'm already in that energy, I could help you resonate to it. So it starts to resensitize places where you've numbed yourself, so it could start to wake back up and turn on your energetic senses and get back into clarity with your gifts. So that's a step one for you guys. Now there's obviously way more, but that's step one. Clear?
Cool. So I have a question.
Wait, there was one.
Oh, okay.
The end of the question was, how do you combine it? Like the person is expecting get hypnotized and clear as junk, and
Oh,
instead
yes.
you're getting things from I don't know where and telling them stuff about themselves that, and you know, that could be seen as an invasion of privacy maybe if the person didn't come for that. No, like how do you?
I mean, well, for me, it's only from my perspective, it's only the ego that could see it that way as an invasion of privacy, because it's a fear.
Not you, but them. I mean.
Yeah. You know, because really, like, people are very transparent to me, and so I'll give you an example of where they tie in together, because I use both. So I don't know if you guys have saw one of my latest videos on YouTube where I heal a guy's feet pain. Have you guys seen that? Just so I know. No? Yeah. Okay. Cool. So the very short story is a guy randomly came up to me with the question of he has agonizing pain in his feet. Can hypnosis help? And he wasn't expecting me to do something on the spot. And if you watch that video, you'll notice that at no point do I ask his unconscious to help me, you know, tell me what the problem is, you know, find the source of the problem or any of that stuff. Instead, I just looked at that information clairvoyantly. So what I was doing, and you know, just to speak to how I complement both of them, I used hypnosis to bring him into a trance so that all of him went into this state and none of his mind was elsewhere, because I want all of him to receive the healing. And then clairvoyantly, what I saw was that he was carrying was that he was carrying a lot of emotional tension and pain in his feet, and that was the cause of the agony. And so by just seeing that, I was able to suggest to his unconscious to release that from his feet, and that's what led to the healing cure. So they're just multiple tools that you're using to create the change that you prefer. Good?
Awesome.
Good. Yeah, that's what I was curious to hear. Very good. So, but then I guess you have to be in a state of confidence about your clairvoyant ability in order to receive that. So
Yes and no.
That would be okay.
Yes and no. I mean, confidence helps in being able to speak it with flow, but you'll notice, I'm sure every single one of you here, when you're helping someone, or sometimes when you're not helping someone, sometimes you'll have an intuition that you're afraid to say, but you're receiving it. So it took no confidence to receive it. It just takes confidence to actually explore it. Right? So that's kind of that's revving those engines. You know, it's allowing yourself to explore in that way. And the more you open yourself up to actually listening to those intuitions, and you feed it to them, and you're like, you know, you say whatever you say, and they're like, oh wow, that actually makes sense. Now you're more lit up, and then you're opening more of that intuitive channel because you're trusting it more. So it's not so much a confidence thing as it is just paying attention to what you're receiving.
Good.
Cool.
Good. Thank you.
My pleasure.
All right, real quick, can you guys hear me okay still? I'm not having the box glow when I talk. Yeah, cool. Okay, we're gonna have someone who hasn't asked a question yet ask a question. So you know who you are. Me and David know who you are. So we'll give you an opportunity to say, hey, I have a question, and you can do that now.
Yes.
And I am looking at a very select few people. Can you feel it when I look at you? Hey, Karen.
Karen was popping.
Yeah, you were talking about this very rapidly going into a trance. Does that have any purpose as therapy? Because I feel that the pre-talk and asking into what the real problem and what the cause and all this is, then you get a very much better trance and solve exact the problem, and you just personalize, make it more personal. You understand what I mean? If you have a good pre-talk, but I can understand as a street hypnotist, it's probably fun to have this rapid trance. But does it have any purpose in therapy? That's my question.
Your question is, does deep trance have purpose in therapy?
No, not deep trance, but the rapid trance.
Oh, the rapid
when you
trance.
can put people into trance in less than a second.
Right.
And then you have no pre-talk, nothing before, it's just thing. Can you then feel what the problem is, or is there any purpose in that in therapy?
That's a good question. I would say yes and no. I mean, more no. I would say more no. I mean, the reason why I said yes is because the more quickly I can get their analytical mind out the way, the better. Especially if they have a lot of resistance to feeling their own emotions and what's going on and all those things. So the quicker I can get their analytical mind out the way, the better. Now, with that said, if someone's coming to you for a session, then chances are they generally shouldn't have so much resistance to perceiving their own problems and emotions. So that's why I kind of say no. Like, rapid trance isn't. I'll put it this way, I've never used rapid trance in a therapy session. I've never seen any reason for it. And the only time I've done it is literally in that street hypnosis video, because I was in the frame of being an entertainer. I was in the frame of being a street hypnotist. But
that was exactly how I understood it, that it was fun as street hypnosis, but not very useful in therapy.
Yeah, it's more fun, it's just fun, but at the end of the day, like, what we care about is the outcome. I don't even believe it's necessary to get a deep trance to do therapy work, or any trance whatsoever sometimes, as long as I can connect to you and feel you and make you feel things. I care about making you feel. That's what I care the most about. Can I make you feel the things that you're not feeling, and can I help you see things that you're not seeing? However I get that done, whether it's through rapid trance or no trance, doesn't matter to me.
No, I understand that. Yeah, that was a good explanation.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, I'm very new in this hypnosis thing. I've only been joining a year or something in Tyler's program.
Amazing.
And it has been very, very helpful. I was in another work before, but I have to change my career, and I think this was very, very good with this hypnosis. I think I have some talent for it.
Hell yeah.
I agree.
Karen's a complete natural, David. I've had her hypnotize someone on these Q&A calls. I had her hypnotize someone over the screen, and just complete natural the first time ever. Was so in her head until she started, and now she's like going crazy.
That's what's up. Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah, I've made some sessions for free just to get some exercise, and I took in 40 person just to practice for free, and half of them wanted to quit smoking, and the other half, they had some issues about food, eating too much sugar and things, and was getting fat. And all of them I helped stop smoking. They have stopped smoking, and it's now 3 weeks ago, and none of them are smoking.
Amazing.
And it's same with the sugar addiction. It's just totally gone, and I'm so amazed that I can do this.
Isn't hypnosis the closest thing to real superpowers?
Yes, it is a superpower.
Right?
It is a real superpower. It really is. But I can see I put on a Facebook group that I can help people to stop smoking and food addiction and something like that. And then some of my clients I had for free, they went into this and recommended me and say, oh, do that. I have lost so much weight, and I have totally shifted my way of thinking about food, and I have stopped smoking. And people say, how many sessions that you had? Oh, only one, online. People don't believe it because it's so amazing. It's really a superpower.
It really is.
That's amazing. Smile. That's funny. Like I noticed this, David. I saw this in your video. I wanted to have you on as a guest speaker for a while, but I saw in your video you did an instant induction, and as soon as like he was a flopper, right? As soon as he went in, dude, just the smile like on your face. Yeah, that was what inspired me. I haven't gone out on the street in like a month, but I saw that smile and I felt it, and I was like, damn, I need to go out today. And I went out.
What's up?
Hypnosis.
Oh,
yeah,
dope.
Karen just had that smile too, so that was really cool.
Anyway,
real quick. So I think there's a few people who haven't asked a question still. Thomas, are you one of those people? And if so, do you have a question? Or regardless, do you have a question?
I just hopped in. I don't really have a question. I'm just following along at the moment.
Cool.
Now, if you did have a question and you had the opportunity to ask David said question, what would that be?
If I did have a question, I guess like how did you get started with all of this? And I don't know. Like I'm just looking for inspiration that way, I'm guessing.
What was the last thing you said?
Like how did you get started with all of this? Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I covered that already, but I'll give the very brief story is that I got hypnotized by a 12-year-old kid,
Nice.
and then he taught me his technique of hypnotizing people very quickly, and then that led me down a rabbit hole.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Thank you for the question, man.
Yeah. I have a follow-up question, brother. I feel a really powerful one inside of you.
A powerful one?
If you could ask me anything your excitement wanted to ask, what would it be?
I guess like, how do you gain your innocence back? Say like, you know, I don't know. I feel like my fire is like slowly burning out. Not how I used to be when I was even just like a few years ago, you know? So I guess if there's one thing, like how would you get back to that state?
That's a great question. That's a great question. So let me ask you a question. How much do you let yourself have fun in your everyday life?
It's hard to say like what fun is.
Something stuff that lights you up, that it's just your joy, whether it's playing video games, whether it's going to amusement parks. I don't know. I'm just saying random things, but.
Oh, I see.
Talking to certain friends.
I guess not as much. I don't know. Like it's like I've lost. I don't know. It's kind of like hard to even think like where is the fun? Like I don't know. It's like yeah. I don't know. It's just kind of like a jumble at this point. I'm not too sure. But I guess I could be having more fun. That's what I can say.
So are you saying that? And this isn't a trick question. It's an honest question. Are you saying that you can't sense which direction fun is in your life?
Yeah, I guess I'm not too sure what fun is. I'm going kind of just like it's almost day to day, like how I feel. If I want to do this, I would do it, you know. But it's been a while since I've had like those late night video game, party with friends kind of thing. And like I remember those days. It was kind of like, yeah, like this is fun kind of thing. But
yeah,
recently I'm not too sure if I've had a lot of those kind of days,
And so let me ask you this. So, and this applies for everyone here. In every moment, there's a number of things you could choose to focus on, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you were to choose to focus on the thing that contains the highest amount of excitement or passion or joy, what would that thing be for you next?
Man, I'm not too sure.
And it could be something that you're not letting yourself have because of whatever reasons your mind might come up with, because I can't do that because I have work and because I have school, but let's create a blank canvas inside of you right now. Mm-hmm. And if you were to allow yourself to do something that has a higher feeling to it, if you were to move in the direction of a lighter feeling, what would that be?
I guess just like there's like a few times when I've had that feeling, and I think like one of them usually comes from like socializing or just like going up to random people.
Yep, perfect.
And honestly, like helping people get through, like when I see like the face of like relief, like say I talked them through a problem, or I haven't done hypnosis on anybody, but I do kind of just like help people, like, just kind of talk to them and see what their problem is, and offer any advice. And when I see their face, just like, oh, okay, like maybe I could try that. Like, oh, wow, like, you know, like just like that excitement in their eyes kind of gives me like,
Yes.
cool, like I did something, you know, like that was actually pretty cool, you know.
There you go. Perfect. So you were starting to see a path over here. And so with that said, what would you do if you knew it was impossible to fail? If you had no fear of failure?
Damn, I would just talk to everyone.
Now, you see how quickly you just lit up with that? You see how quickly you just lit up with that? So all we did is I just asked you a certain question that removed the veil of fear in your mind so you could actually feel where the fun and excitement is. Because it was really just the fear that was preventing you from feeling the thing that you're actually looking for. And so it's a very powerful question you could ask yourselves. You know, it's like, what would I do if I knew it was impossible to fail? What would I do if I had no fear of failure? And that'll give you the opportunity to lift up the veils of fear to see where your true path actually is, because that's that's where you're being called to step forth into, so that you could reclaim what you called your innocence, your joy, your excitement, your passions. It's all in that direction. That's where you could befriend your fears.
I see. Okay. Say like take it another step. Say my mind knows that and it prevents me from even asking that question.
How would your mind prevent you from asking that question?
Because of the fear. Like the first step is just asking that question, and then say I get burdened with like fear again, and then the fear stops me from even asking that question to get to this answer.
Here's what you're gonna do. What I'm gonna suggest that you do as a hypnotist is, I want you to get a big piece of paper with whatever your favorite colors and markers are, and you're gonna write down the question, what would you do if you knew it was impossible to fail? And put that on your wall somewhere so that you can look at it every day, and that question is always prompting you. Now, whether or not you choose to act on that thing is up to you, but I'll tell you a quick story that changed my life, that has to do with fear. And when I first became a magician and I learned magic, it took me 5 years before I had the courage to perform for strangers. I was terrified. You know, I was basically just performing in the mirror, and, you know, maybe for my girlfriends or whatever. And there came a point where I was going to this college called Dawson in Montreal, and I didn't have any friends yet. I was just there by myself, and every day after class, I would see all the cool kids and the basketball players and the hot chicks just chilling, and I kept telling them, like, man, if only they gave me a chance. If only they just got to know me, I know they would love me. And so I kept hoping that one day someone would be like, hey man, who are you? But that never happened, right? But what I really wanted to do, if I had no fear of failure, was I really just wanted to do magic for them, because I know that they would love it and I know it would bring joy. But I also had all kinds of insecurities and fears because I spent so much time getting bullied. I'd been bullied, I'd been, you know, rejected, and it's like the last thing I felt I could take was another rejection. You know, the last thing I wanted was to be the guy who wanted to be a magician. You know, I was like, oh yeah, he tried being a magician, right? So I literally spent 6 months letting that fear get the best of me, and every day being like, okay, I'm gonna perform. Okay, I still need to prepare more. I'll do it tomorrow. And I said tomorrow, 6 months in a row until the new semester started, until I got to the point where the pain of living in that hamster wheel of what if was so much greater than the thought of just like, you know what, I'm just gonna go for it, you know, because I just can't live this vicious cycle anymore, and I'm just gonna start with a small group of people. And so once it got to that point and I just went for it, that's what changed my life, because I performed, and it went amazing, and the next thing I knew, I became the most popular guy in school overnight, and I had all the friends I could ask for. So I share that story just to, you know, impress the idea upon you of yes, you can have your fears, but as long as you have courage, it's not about waiting for your fear to go away. It's just about having the willingness to move even with your fear. That's what courage is.
Well, thank you. I think that what would you do if you knew it was impossible? Writing it in a marker and just putting it up somewhere. I think that I'm gonna do that.
Absolutely, man. And dare to fail. Dare to fail. You know, let yourself go out there and just that. When I go out there, I learned this from Justin Trance. I don't know if you guys know Justin Trance. He's another hypnotist. But one of the best pieces of advice he ever gave me was dare to fail. You know, he's like, you know, I was afraid of like, what if the hypnosis doesn't work and this, that, and the other. He's like, go out there and fail 10 times. Just go out there and purposely fail 10 times, which paradoxically, because you do that, you're actually getting out of your way and you allow yourself to have more fun and you actually end up succeeding.
Cool. Thank you.
All right,
Yeah.
my pleasure, bro. Who else we got? I see Jennifer sitting all comfy. What's poppin', Jen? We got Anil who wants to ask a question.
Marvin, how about you, man? You haven't asked a question.
Yeah, he asked a question about thoughts.
Did.
That's right. That's right. You asked a question a really long time ago, Marvin.
No, I was trying to say that Ankit or Charville has actually a question
Oh, Charville, his
in
hand
the
is
chat.
raised.
Yeah.
Charville, can you unmute your mic and speak? And if for whatever reason you cannot, you can put it.
Hi guys, it's midnight here and it's always been the same whenever the call was, and it's midnight in India, so everyone else is sleeping, so most of the time I have to keep my mic mute.
No worries, dude. What's your
I think you
question?
should just turn up anyway. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, so like see I do learn flute. Okay, so I do come up with a few of the guys who are like mentally blocked on getting more creative at it. So I was thinking like, how can we help someone using hypnosis on removing that block or that fear of they can't do better than that. Like most of them are working, and then I do have friends, they are working, okay, I can't do that, but they do have that skill, but they don't do it. So how can we remove that thing from them so that they actually try on what they want to do? Like the flute is just an example.
So just so I'm clear on your question, you're asking if people have a mental block around doing what they say they want to do, how can you help them with that mental block?
Yeah.
Well, one way is exactly what I just did with Thomas.
So like they do practice every day, but not that much so that they can sharpen their skills.
Could you give me a specific example?
Okay, fine. I have a friend who is a good flutist. He plays the flute very well. But what happens is he's already like coping up with all the work he has. So he's not professionally doing the music thing. He's working something else. But then after coming home, he doesn't have that much energy to like get back up and then start doing what he really wants to do. Like that is playing flute. But he doesn't do it just because he's way too tired, like telling himself only, okay, fine, I'm very tired. I guess I don't want to do it. But he can do well.
Right. So what I would explore with him, and I mean, this could go down a whole rabbit hole, but I would that to me tells me that he has a limiting belief that his art can't support him.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's afraid that like if he starts focusing more on art, he might not earn that well.
Right. So that's what I would explore, because it's not that he doesn't want to do it. It's that he doesn't believe that his art can actually support him way better than doing the things he doesn't want to do. So it would be a matter of unpacking and exploring that belief and getting him to see and feel, especially feel that his art can support him. So that's the essence, that's the principle of how I would explore it. And in terms of the method, there's so many methods, and it's kind of you got to customize it to each person. But one great method that you can use is you could put him into hypnosis, and you could have him essentially imagine the future version of himself, the most successful,
Okay.
happy, fulfilled version of himself, and have him observe the behaviors and attitudes of that version of himself, and also the way his life unfolds, so that he can see you know, the opportunities that open up. Because as people do this exercise,
Yeah.
I bring them through their perfect day, basically. And as they start to adopt the behaviors and attitudes of their higher self, of their best self, I also have them go through, you know, what are the type of people you would interact with? What are the kind of circumstances that arise that you respond to? And
Yeah.
and then they'll literally start to see in their imagination that taking certain actions lead to certain opportunities, lead to certain abundance. So it starts to wire and reprogram into their subconscious possibility. So that's just one thing that you could do to help.
Yeah. And one more thing I came up with was like, see, I do have students whom I teach flute, but then there are few students, okay, fine, they give up so easily. Okay, sir, I can't do that. Okay, fine, the flute is too big or the hole is too big, my fingers don't fit. But actually, that's not the real problem. It's just that they're not trying.
Hey, Johnny boy.
How do I convince them to do that? Because each time convincing each and everyone is a bit of a task.
Yep. Make it more fun for them.
See, like telling children it's easier, but telling a grown-up it's a bit hard.
I'll put it to you this way, right? Everybody loves fun, right?
Yeah.
If you know, if I was in your class and I'm a student who's learning how to play the flute, and then my insecurities are coming up around, you know, the holes being too big or whatever the things are, and so I'm making these excuses, it's also because I feel a certain amount of pressure and seriousness around it, so that's making it hard for me to be me. But if you as the teacher made it, you know, turned it into a fun activity somehow, you know, using your imagination, your creativity, and made it fun, that takes the pressure and the seriousness off and gives me more room to see how amazing I actually am.
Yeah. Well, is there a way to at least remove that negative part, like while going through the process?
Well, that is the way.
Like
is to
any negative thinking or negative block.
Yeah, that is the way, is to make it fun.
Okay.
Because think about it, you know, if you just said like, all right, guys, I want all, instead of you guys trying to play perfectly, because that's a lot of pressure, you know, especially if they're doing that in their own heads. I want you to play as terribly as you possibly can. And just have fun with it. That starts to open their energy up, because now where they were guarded, they start to open up more now, and now you could lead them to new territory within themselves. So I'm just giving you one example, but obviously in order for this to work, you have to step into the fun state first.
Yeah.
Right? This is a principle in NLP that says, that's called going first. You know, whatever you want to lead them to, you have to step into first. So by you stepping into a more fun state and not taking it seriously, they're going to follow your lead. And then you could, it'll help to alleviate the negativity, because it won't even be a thought.
Okay.
Is that helpful?
Hello?
Yeah, is that helpful? Yeah?
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sergio.
Great. So right now I'm gonna go to an event where I'm gonna do networking, and I'm gonna basically meet people to get clients and to show hypnosis and things like that. And right now I feel confident because I have the mindset of that I know my values and I'm going up to what I want. So I feel confident, and I know that value is arbitrary. So I don't necessarily feel nervous around other people that I want to meet or things like that. But what are some bullet points that you will tell me before going out, so that I can have like the best experience ever, and as a byproduct of that, getting clients and helping people?
Yeah, great question. Set your intentions before you go out there. Set a very clear intention. So I every time I go on the street and I'm about to perform and make videos, I always set an intention. So whether my intention is I want to blow people's minds, or I want to bring joy into people's lives, or, you know, I want to be very mysterious to people. I set an intention for what I want for the people that allows me to get out of my own way because I'm thinking about them and not about me. So if you go out there and your intention is like, I just want to bring good vibes into people's lives, and I'm just going to be like the sun, and I'm just going to shine and let people enjoy that. And whoever wants to talk to me and get to know me more, great. Whoever doesn't, great. That'll be a good game changer for you because you're thinking about them and not you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That's great.
My pleasure, man. Anil, were you raising your hand? Yep.
Yep. Okay, two questions, very small. This is on that thing where I think, who wanted to help the students get through better performance. So I hit upon an idea. I want your comments on it. That I once got a student who was weak in physics. And here in India, there's a lot of competition and they have to really do well and get good grades. Otherwise, they can't become doctors or engineers or whatever. So I took that student into hypnosis and I did a time shift for her where I took her back in history and made her the favorite student of Newton. I said, okay, so he is going to teach you because he is so impressed by your abilities in physics. And once I took her into that she learned from him for quite some time, and that knowledge is right in her hands, and we come back into the present time with that knowledge, and then you assimilate it into your heart or you and so on, and you put the knowledge inside you, and then I take her out of the hypnosis. So it seemed to work because her confidence was amazing after that. So what are your comments on this? Can we improve on this even further?
I think that's amazing. I think like I was so happy with everything you were sharing. I love how I love how you were creative. I love how you made it fun, and you found possibility rather than buying into your students' limitations. So I don't have any extra comments because I think what you did was perfect. And just to continue doing what you're doing, and I applaud teachers like you.
Oh, thank you. And one more thing, which my problem is that I have a lot of interest. Like you were asking the question, what makes you happy, or what makes you tick, or what makes you excited? Well, I have about 10 things that do that to me. So I do everything simultaneously. So I can't become a master at anything. So, but I do fairly well at each of them. So how do I go forward? I mean, sometimes I really regret that I'm not a master at anything, which I can be if I do it properly.
So, sorry, could you just clarify what your question is for me?
My question is, like, I have got 8 or 10 interests. Like I used to do magic, I do hypnosis, I do public speaking, I do diet counseling, and I am a doctor, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So, but then I can't devote enough time to one thing.
Got it. So what do you do with that, basically, right? So yeah, so you're what I would call multi-passionate, which is amazing. I'm sure a lot of people here could relate to that. I'm very multi-passionate myself. I do, like you said, I do magic, I do hypnosis, I do psychic work, I do healing, I do speaking, I do this, I do that. So what I would recommend is, rather than thinking of it in terms of I have these 10 things that I love and I'm not mastering, I'm not spending enough time on one thing, is simply just become a master of living from your heart and living your truth. That is, because from my perspective, that's the best mastery you can have. If you're living from your heart and you're living your truth, and as you do that, you'll just naturally, sometimes you'll feel like doing hypnosis, and sometimes you'll be doing your magic, but at least you're going to be doing it from a space of your heart and truth and your passions, which will allow you to excel in those things in magical ways because it's coming from the right place.
Oh, thank you. That's really, yeah.
Is that helpful?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. Zarach.
Just considering what you're saying, I say this for myself too. I can really relate to I've lost his name, was saying is that I also like struggle with that. Is that I do a lot of stuff. I wear a lot of hats, and I think that I'm asking you. I'm sort of saying something, but a lot of people are doing this. But if you want to comment, is that maybe we should just be happy with who we are and not worry. Like the outside label is, oh, I'm supposed to be a meditation therapist, or I'm supposed to be a Kabbalah teacher, or I'm supposed to be whatever, all my list of titles, right? And if we're happy with who we are and what we're doing at the present moment, then it doesn't really matter.
Absolutely. And this goes back.
What do you guys say?
Yeah, that goes back to what I was sharing earlier about, you know, how our only purpose is to shine.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I don't care about my labels. I mean, I don't care if you call me a hypnotist or a psychic or whatnot or any of those things. I just care about being me and feeling alive and feeling free. And, you know, because that's what resonates with people is my beingness, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's what I would say to that is just, I'm my only mastery that I focus on is exactly what I shared with Anil, is just living my truth, being true to myself and letting that translate into other things.
Groovy.
Groovy
Old slang. Nobody says groovy anymore, right? Just old timers.
Appreciate your question, man. Thank you.
Yes, cool too. Thank you.
Any other questions?
But just a follow up on that. But when you are kind of master of none, but everything you do everything, it is sometimes difficult to make money from those, because you don't feel yourself that you are a professional at any of these things. So kind of you are dependent on your basic profession or basic work for your making a living, and all these other things kind of you are at the edge where you can't make money out of it. That's
I would actually say the opposite is true. So, and I'll give you an example. So if you walked into a room and you saw, I'm just going to make up something here. So let's say you walked into a room and there was a guy with a bunch of titles, you know, there's hypnotist, or let's just say it said master hypnotist, 30 years experience. And so even though he has 30 years experience, but yet you just don't like him. You know, there's something very arrogant about him and he's very like know-it-all. Does it make any difference to you that he actually mastered something? You know, or will he get your business if you don't like him, if you don't have rapport with him?
right.
Right? The answer is no. Yeah, I mean, chances are the answer is no. Now on the flip side,
Absolutely.
if you're a very loving, relatable person, and just through, now let's give another example. Let's say you came to a party and you bumped into me over there and you didn't know anything about what I did. You didn't know what I'm a master of or what I'm not a master of, but we just had a very powerful conversation and I gave you some amazing insights and I made you feel good. And then after everything, you're like, wow, you're a smart guy. What do you do? And I'm like, I do hypnosis. Right? And you're like, wow, I would love to do a session with you. Right? It has nothing to do with the label. It has everything to do with what I made you feel.
No, my question is what you feel inside. Like inside, if you don't feel that you are really a professional or really excelling at it, you tend to downplay your own value and you don't charge people for that. You treat it more as amateur.
Right. I see. Yeah. So you're saying if you don't feel a level of confidence in your skill, that you'll downplay your value.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess you know. I think that's valid, you know, to a degree where like, if you know you're not a professional at your skill, then, you know, you should do kind of like what Karen did and have 40 people volunteer to, you know, until you do develop more confidence in it, right? Because you do have to pay your dues. You do have to build up integrity and build up testimonials and stuff like that. You know, it's just integrity, you know, but with that, if let's say you've seen 100 clients already and you volunteered, and so you know you're really good and people are telling you you're really good and you're still downplaying your value, then that's a subconscious issue, right? That's something that needs to be looked at in a different way, because obviously you're amazing, and there's a limiting belief in the way.
Right.
That makes sense?
That makes, yeah. Thanks.
For
Cool.
sure.
So at this point, let's take a few more questions from you guys, and then we're going to do a little rapid fire questions. I came up with a short list of questions.
I knew you were going to say that.
With. Yeah. Alan has a question for now, though. So what's up, Alan?
Cool.
Hey, what's up, David? Man, I saw a bunch of your videos. You're crazy, man. You're doing great.
Thank you.
Great stuff. Really great, man. Really inspiring. I want to ask you, recently I've become a little bit better at this hypnosis, and I found people, so I want to ask you, based on your experience, why do people are really afraid to experience this hypnosis, or even forget their name, or even get their feet stuck, or even the simple stuff? Why are they really afraid? So how can I basically handle their objections to it? So yeah, what are some reasons people are afraid to really experience this?
That's great question, man. So the simple answer is just because of the stigma attached to the word hypnosis. You know, people have seen hypnosis in Hollywood and, you know, movies like Get Out and whatever else in the past. So as soon as you say I'm a hypnotist, you know, they're like, oh no, don't look at me, right? And so they have these misconceptions about it. So there are two things you can do. The number one thing is that I suggest you do is just clarify what hypnosis is and is not. You know, my pre-talk that I usually do now, it's evolved over the years, but I have a very, very simple pre-talk that I use, which is basically, I compare hypnosis to the dream state. You know, so I'll say something along the lines of how, I'm like, you know how when you go to sleep and you dream at night, when you're dreaming, no matter what's happening, you believe it's real. You know, so your feet could be stuck, or you could be changing scenes, or you could be with your favorite celebrity, but you don't question it. It's happening automatically, and it's just something it's an unconscious response. I say, and they're like, yeah, I know what that is. I'm like, that's hypnosis. It's very natural hypnosis. It's spontaneous hypnosis. A hypnotist is someone who calls that part of your brain to the forefront and makes it happen deliberately. So that's my whole pre-talk. I use the dream analogy so people go, oh yeah, that makes sense. So that means everyone could get hypnotized because everyone dreams at night. So that's one way I do it. The second way I do it is I don't use the word hypnosis whatsoever. It's, you know, so it's kind of funny if you think about it, right? As hypnotists, our job is, or one of our jobs is to dissolve the resistance a person has so that we can hypnotize them. But yet the very first thing we do is we give them a bundle of resistance by using the word hypnosis. Right? It's a bit
completely, man. 100%.
It's a bit of a mind fuck. You know, so you know, so it's you know, so instead what I do is, you know, oftentimes I just don't use the word hypnosis at all. I'm like, hey, you want to see something with the power of your mind? And I could still give the same pre-talk about dreaming and be like, you know how when you dream at night, things happen automatically, right? You know, I could still say when you dream at night, things happen automatically. So you know you have a part of your brain that can make things happen automatically, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And
that's awesome, man. You just covered it up, everything. By the way, you know, you're the reason I started hypnosis. You're the first one I saw that with the finger stuck.
Oh, no way.
Since then, so I saw you the first time. That was the first hypnosis I ever saw. I saw you get the finger stuck to this kid in the city. And then I went tried on my friend. And I didn't believe it's going to work, but I knew it could work. And it worked. And her finger was stuck for like a couple of minutes. And I thought she was playing with me. I thought she was fooling me. But her finger were for real stuck. I was like, stop playing with it. And since then, I realized the power of it. And I became nuts on it, you know? So thank you so much, man, really.
Oh, amazing, bro. I'm honored, man. And happy hypnosising.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Awesome. Let's take two more questions.
And now, when you go to a group and we are starting off in hypnosis, and we want to pick a subject to demonstrate something, can we do a screening about who is going to be more suggestible?
Most hypnotists will say no. I'll say yes. And I'm curious to know what Tyler thinks on this as well, because I know you have a lot of experience. So my secret sauce that I look for when I'm going to a group and I want to know who will be the best subject, I'm simply looking for who is the most captivated by me. That's all.
Oh, okay.
If I see your eyes are sparkly at me and you're just like, oh, this guy's super cool, I already know we have a strong rapport and that you're very responsive to me. On the other hand, if you're just kind of like, oh, this guy's full of shit, like, you might still be an amazing subject, but I have more work to do with you. So I look for who's the most captivated.
Okay.
Awesome.
And secondly, if I go ahead and ask them that you're going to forget your name, and the guy doesn't forget his name, I kind of feel that sinking feeling inside. Oh, it didn't work. How do you take care of that?
Yeah. So if you actually, I have videos of that on my YouTube where I've purposely posted failure videos so you could see how to roll with the punches.
Okay.
But honestly, the way that you do it is you just keep moving. You know, like there's a video on my channel called Hypnosis Gone Wrong, I think it's called. And I told the guy his feet was stuck, and then he was moving his feet. You know, and then and so I'm like, oh, perfect. Look, you can move your feet, right? You know, and but they're a little bit more heavy, and they're like, yeah, they're definitely heavy. So I'm looking for whatever wins I can get, and if it's really, really not working, then I bring attention to what's actually happening inside his mind, which is basically the only reason why why you remember your name is because you believe that you know your name, and they'll have to say, yeah. You know, it's like, and you don't believe that's something that you would forget, right? They'll be like, yeah. So now I'm getting my yes sets. I'm getting them to agree, and then I'll be like, but if you wanted to, even though you know your name, if you believe that you could forget your name and that name was just gone from your mind, you know what that name, you know what that name would feel like completely gone now, wouldn't you? Notice how that even feels in your mind now as I say it, right? So I just play, you know, I just play. And I think one of the things that makes me a great hypnotist is I have fun. I'm not there to be perfect. I'm not there to, have all my suggestions stick. I'm really there just to have a lot of fun and show people a good time. And because of that, I believe that's what makes me a great hypnotist, because I get out of my own way more, and that fun allows my language to come up with things that I wouldn't have thought of saying.
Right, thanks. Actually, it just reminds me of the times when we used to do magic tricks and the trick used to flop.
Right? You just go. Life goes on.
Yeah.
All right, let's take one more question. And then we'll do a little rapid fire.
Jennifer, you got something. I feel you.
Yeah, actually. I'm wondering what exactly do you do? Like, I was looking on the web and you do like courses. Like, what's everything that you do?
What's everything? So two main I'll summarize. So I have an online hypnosis school where I teach everything that I've learned, and I basically provide what I wish I had when I was getting into hypnosis. So I teach street hypnosis, healing hypnosis, stop smoking hypnosis, and I provide support for people in a group called the Hypno Dojo, which is a Facebook group, kind of like Tyler's group, I would imagine. So I teach people hypnosis is one. And I'm also a mentor. I'm a spiritual mentor. So people who are wanting to embody more of their gifts and their purpose and live life in a more effortless and exciting fashion, as opposed to like serious and struggle, I help people with that by helping them find what I guess you can call the yellow brick road to their dreams. You know,
Nice.
so I run retreats. You know, for example, I have a retreat coming up in May, which is all around developing and mastering your spiritual gifts in a very practical way. So there's stuff like that I do too.
Cool.
I help people live magic is how I would summarize it.
Do you do like individual sessions or anything?
Sometimes when I feel called.
Okay.
I don't do them as much anymore just because of time. But if I get a request and it speaks to me, I'll do it, or I'll refer you to someone who I know will give you the highest service as well.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, generally I'll do like longer term mentoring with people, you know, who want 3, 6, and 9 month journeys where I could actually give you my full potential and take you to more of your own full potential.
Nice. Okay.
Good?
Yeah. Thanks.
Cool. You're welcome.
Awesome. So at this point, who has been very happy that they hopped on this call? and took this time out of their day. Just a quick thumbs up if you're super happy to be here right now. Awesome. David's amazing. Yeah, thumbs up. Okay, cool. So I got a few rapid fire questions to ask, just because these are questions that, one, I think will help you, all of you, to hear the answers, and also questions that I just get asked a lot, so different perspectives. First one is, David, what book would you recommend to strengthen our understanding of the human mind?
First one that comes to mind is Richard Bandler's Guide to Trance Formation. It's Trance-Formation. And I believe the subtitle is How to Harness and Ignite the Power of Hypnosis. That was one of my favorite books in understanding the mind and consciousness in the context of hypnosis.
Awesome. Cool. And what is the first thing you say when you approach people for street hypnosis?
Do I have the camera with me or not?
Both. Just like
Okay.
From stranger to now I'm in an interaction.
Okay, so if I have a camera with me, that makes it much easier. So I'll literally just be like, hey guys, I'm filming something for YouTube. Do you want to see something with the power of your mind? That's usually the first thing that'll come out of my mouth, and then that drops to guard because they see the YouTube. If I don't have a camera with me, I'll usually say something to the effect of either, do you guys want to see something interesting? Or you guys look like interesting people. You want to see something cool? Like, I'm showing up with the energy of like, you want to see some dope shit.
Cool. Awesome. All right, a little potentially longer question is, what was your most powerful experience, just healing experience in general?
That I've given or received?
Ooh, okay. Both would be awesome.
Oh man, given, there was so the first one that comes up, there's so many that have been given, but one that really stands out is using hypnosis, I helped heal a guy's quote unquote incurable gallstones that he was having he had gallstones in a gallbladder. I don't know the terms, but yeah, he had gallstones, and the doctors didn't know what to do with him. And he basically made a post on Facebook saying, if anyone knows anything that can help, I'm out of options. You know, I'm open to anything. And so I sent him a message saying, hey, I'm a hypnotist and spiritual healer, and he's, you know, I can help you. And he's like, I don't believe in any of those things, but I have nothing to lose. And basically in one session, using my soul medicine process, I located that his gallstones was actually being caused by deep resent issues. And by releasing the resent, he, the next day, he had a spontaneous recovery that the doctors couldn't explain of his gallstones. So that was definitely one of the most magical healings that I've given.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. In terms of received, I don't know why this one's popping up, but I think one of the most powerful healings I received, this was, I think, back in 2014, was when one of my friends just straight up told me that she thinks I'm a bit of a narcissist. And for me, that was everything, because, you know, there's a quote that says something like, bad friends say things about you behind your back, and good friends say them to your face. And I was with my friend Stephanie, and, you know, I was clueless to this. It wasn't like I was trying to be a bad person, but she said, like, you know, I think you're a bit of a narcissist. And I didn't even know what the word meant at the time, but when I looked into it and then I asked for more insight, it actually helped me a lot, because it showed me places where I was being not only insensitive and inconsiderate with others, but those are places where I was doing that with myself. You know, so that was very healing for me to open up and become more compassionate and sensitive in those ways.
Awesome. Okay, so this one's cool and a very interesting topic of discussion on a lot of Q&A calls. What was the first time you hypnotized someone and experienced an ab reaction that just like scared you?
It's only happened once, thankfully. This was an interesting one. It wasn't what I thought an ab reaction would be, but I hypnotized this girl. said sleep, and as soon as she went under, she started to like cry hysterically, and she looked like she was suffering, and there was a bunch of people around, and so, you know, I wasn't sure what to do at first, and then so I brought her up out of trance on the count of 3, eyes open, wide awake, and then she comes up, and then she stops crying, and I'm like, are you okay? She's like, yeah, like as if she had no clue what I was talking. I'm like, okay. I'm like, do you want to continue? She's like, yeah. I'm like, all right. So I say sleep again, and then she goes under, and again she goes into this state where she looks like she's suffering so bad, and so I just put my hand on her shoulder. I'm like, do you feel good right now? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, do you feel really good? She's like, yeah. I'm like, are you suffering? No. Do you want to continue? Yeah. So by my estimation, what I believe was happening was that she was just having an emotional release of whatever things just needed to release, because she hasn't given herself permission to go that deep into herself. And I just gave her suggestions of just relaxation and continued on with my skit, and it was amazing. But that was the only instance I've ever had.
That's super interesting.
Yeah,
I've never heard of or experienced anything like that with like spontaneous crying.
It was crazy. Weird. It was weird, especially because she looked like she was suffering like really badly.
Yeah. Because I used to be terrified of ab reactions, and the biggest like thing that throws off new hypnotists, besides like, oh, you know, what happens when this doesn't work, is what happens when it does work, but in a really weird way that I didn't want it to. But I found that ab reactions are, if it happens, they needed it to happen.
Yes.
Yeah. So super cool. Zarak has a question. We will do that because the last question is not really a question. So you can ask your question, and then we'll get to the last part.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on that. The method that I use, we actually invoke that on purpose to release the catharsis. You say to a person, like, what's the emotion coming up? And the emotion, and a lot of times people just, you know, if they're in a difficult state, they just start crying and crying. I've had people like, one time I had a person like sit and just cry for like 2 hours. Afterwards, he felt tremendous. So like, there's really nothing to worry about. If you feel like you're in your confidence and you're there to help the person, you can allow them to go through something challenging to release it. Yeah. And just keep encouraging them and saying, yeah, they're releasing it. It's coming up for freedom. It's no problem at all. Like, I guess maybe you guys don't go there in that place, but that's absolutely. The method I learned, that was probably what we emphasize, is to go in and let out all that negative emotions, and then I just feel like such relief. It's like,
yes, completely agree with you.
Yeah, awesome. All right, dude. So ready for this? Everyone, get ready for this. David, would you like to wrap up this call with a powerful hypnotic experience for one person here over the screen?
For one person.
Actually, you're right. Why am I limiting that? Let's do everyone, huh? Are you down?
Sure, let's do it. I'll make up something. Okay. I like to get creative with these things. So one of the questions I'm inspired by comes from Richard Bandler, creator of NLP. And one of his driving questions is, how much pleasure can you stand? Which I think is just a great question to live your life by. How much pleasure can you stand? So for how much time do I have, by the way?
You don't have a time limit, if that's what you're asking.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so this shouldn't take very long anyway. So whoever wants to have this experience, let's see, how do I want to play this? Okay. We're going to do some classic hypnosis, and I'd like to have everyone just stare at the tip of my finger. I know it's a very fascinating finger. It's unlike anyone you've seen before. But I'd like you to go ahead and just put all of your attention and focus onto my finger. And as you stare at my finger, you're going to begin to just tune everything else out, so that as you're focusing on my finger, your mind is focusing on my voice. And as you focus on my finger, at some point, when I count to 5, on the count of 5, your eyes will close and you're going to begin to relax. But before we do that, all I want you to do is I want you to just notice and imagine what color represents the most magical, amazing feeling for you. What color represents the most magical, amazing feeling for you? Now, if you want, you might even get more specific about it. You know, maybe the feeling you're looking for is clarity. Maybe the feeling you're looking for is confidence. Maybe the feeling you're looking for is excitement. Whatever that feeling is, I just want you to notice what color your unconscious gives to that feeling. Notice if it's a light color or if it's a dark color. And notice where that feeling starts in your body as you begin to access it now. And as you begin to access and feel that feeling, as you're looking at my finger, in a moment, I'm going to begin to count down from 5 to 1. And with every number that I count down from 5 to 1, you're just going to begin to amplify and ignite that feeling inside of you, as if you're infusing yourself with it as I count down from 5, 4, amplifying that feeling, letting that color just move through your body, 2, and 1. Eyes closed, all the way down. That's right. Closing your eyes. And with your eyes closed, as you listen to my voice, I just want you to feel, nothing more, nothing less. Not resisting anything that you're feeling and not judging anything that you're feeling. All the while, paying attention to that color, whatever that color is. And all I want you to do is I want you to begin to breathe in that color, as if you can feel the shades of that color going up into your nostrils and breathing that color in, so that with every breath in, you're breathing in that beautiful color, and every time you exhale, it's going wherever it needs to go in your body. So that as you continue to breathe, noticing where this color starts in your body as you breathe. Noticing, does it start in your chest? Does it start in your head? Wherever that feeling starts, paying attention to where that feeling starts as you continue to breathe and amplify that feeling. And as you pay attention to where that feeling starts, I want you to notice how that feeling moves. All feelings, all energies, they have to move in a particular way in order for the feeling to continue. They can't remain stagnant. So I want you to notice and follow where that feeling, where that color moves in your body. Does it spin? Does it go up your chest? Does it radiate? Can you allow it to amplify even stronger now? Can you let it begin to take on a life of its own, even beyond my words, as if you're following the color's guidance, letting it lead you into states that you know are best for you, as you trust your unconscious now to go ahead and let that color guide you and become your guide along with your breathing, as you follow that feeling wherever it needs to go in your body. So that with every number that I count down from 5 to 1, with each number that I count, you're simply going to continue to follow that feeling wherever it leads you, letting it amplify and reteach joy, magic, and great feelings to every cell of your being with every number that I count from 5. Following that feeling. 4. Letting your breathing be your guide. 3. Noticing that the more that feeling amplifies, the more you could infuse every cell of your being with this color. 2. Letting go even deeper. 1. Really letting that color amplify and even begin to seep out of your pores as it begins to spin even stronger now, asking yourself, how much pleasure can you stand? How much magic can you stand? How much of this color can you allow yourself to have right now? Allowing yourself to receive, perhaps noticing how you can let yourself receive without giving. You can literally just let yourself receive all that is meant for you here and now. So that as you allow this color to spin inside of you and infuse your being, giving you everything that your unconscious mind knows that you need, in a moment, I'm going to begin to count back up from 1 to 5. And on the count of 5, and only on the count of 5, your eyes will open, wide awake, no longer in trance, just like you had an 8-hour nap and 3-hour massage. However, instead of waking up out of trance, I'd like to ask your unconscious to go ahead and guide you through trance so that you bring with you all the sensations, all the feelings, all the wisdom that's best kept with you in the waking world. So that as we count up from 1 through 5, you're simply going to ahead and amplify this color, this feeling with every number up, with all your passion, all your intention, so that when you open your eyes, that feeling, that color is kept with you in the waking world. As we count you back up now from 1, slowly arising. 2, gently, powerfully, amplifying this feeling, letting it spin throughout your auric field and into the room around you, perhaps even setting the intention that anyone whose life you come across, you amplify their life as well, sharing some of that magic. 3, taking a nice, strong, deep breath in of this color, locking into this state. 4, getting ready to open your eyes as you truly amplify this feeling as strongly as you can now. And 5, eyes open, wide awake, as you trust your unconscious to perhaps give you some unexpected surprises and inspirations that you were least expecting, as you simply let this feeling be your guide throughout the rest of your day and perhaps even your life. And welcome back.
All right, everyone, just real quick, unmute your mic. Hopefully this isn't like a mess of everyone talking, but unmute your mic and just share your experience. So I noticed a significant amount of mics still muted. There we go. All right, how was that? Just share your thoughts. That was powerful.
Yeah, that was really good. I think in the beginning, like, I didn't feel it as much in the beginning, but towards the end, because I got 2 different colors. It was like blue and pink. It was kind of like weird which one I should like take in. And then towards the end, it just kind of like mixed together, making like the perfect color, I guess.
Yes, yes.
And I got it all in. I was like,
perfect.
oh, good.
Your unconscious knew what to do.
Yeah, it just clicked like right at the last moment. So that was really cool.
That's awesome. Jan, how was that experience for you?
Me?
Jan, I can see your mouth moving, but I can't hear you.
Oh, me?
No,
yes.
Jennifer. Janet has a. I'm sorry. I still can't hear you, Jan. But oh my gosh, I wish I don't know what's going on. Okay, Jennifer, what was your experience?
Let's go. We'll start with Jennifer.
Yeah, it was good. I felt I could just feel the color just kind of taking me away, and then I just felt like clearer and fresher, and like now everything looks more crystal clear. It's really nice.
Yeah, it's a great practice that I play with. I believe I even used it in my street hypnosis healing video, but I love the power of colors, because it's, like when someone's in a shitty state and you ask them what color that is, it'll usually be like a dark color, and then if you ask them like, well, what color is the opposite state that you would love to feel? It'll usually be a brighter color. So you could use that because it's a built-in anchor that their unconscious is giving to you. And so you could literally use that for your hypnosis to just do like a booster type session.
Cool.
Also,
nice.
The subconscious works in pictures.
Yes.
So when you give someone a color is like the most abstract picture. So you just like, it kind of shortcuts everything. You just go right for the most deepest part of the subconscious. It was great. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, David, that was amazing. This entire call has been amazing. So thank you very much for taking the time out for being here. Real quick.
Thank you, David.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
Yeah. David, okay, first of all, everyone here. I don't know, I just had an internal debate to swear and not swear. That was weird. I always fucking swear. All right. Who was so fucking happy they were here to be with David today?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, awesome. Who, at some point in the future, would love to have him back?
Yes, yes,
Ooh,
yes, yes.
Anytime,
Okay.
David.
Anytime.
Awesome. Now, I put in the chat, I believe this is the link to your programs that you were talking about. I don't know if it's the right link, but I put that there so you can check that out, see what he has to offer. And as well as his Soul Magic video, that link is in the description. So just scroll through the group chat real quick, take down those links for after the call. But other than that, David, do you have anything you wanna say to wrap up? Just any last words of wisdom?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just wanted to say, I mean, I don't know about words of wisdom, but just just thank you guys for being here. You know, you obviously could have been anywhere, so I appreciate you taking the time to be here with me and getting to know me. And Tyler, thanks for having me over here.
Of course, brother.
You know, and in terms of words of wisdom, like really just have fun. I mean, I don't know how wise that is, but really just have fun with it, because that's what unlocks our potential, right? You know, the more we have fun, the more we unlock our potential, the more we unlock our flow. So I invite you guys to really have fun with who you are and what you're doing. And as a gift to you guys, you know, I spoke with Tyler a little bit about this before, but as a gift to you guys, whoever is interested in being a part of the Hypno Dojo, I'm gifting you guys with the first month free. It's a monthly membership. You get the first month free, so it's $50 off. And you just have to go on the link that Tyler provided and use the promo code DOJOLOVE. I'll type that in, or Tyler could type it in. But Dojo Love, it's good for the first 50 people, and after that it expires. But that way you guys could explore, and then you get access to every single one of my courses, including street magic and healing hypnosis and all those things, including everything that I have to offer. And enjoy.
Yeah, I would save that link, check it out, and he's giving you 1 month free. 1 month. How much can you learn in the month? Let me ask you that. How much have you learned in the past month just hopping on these Q&A calls? Anyone learn a shit ton? Okay. So now after this month, what's going to happen is you're probably going to love it and stay in. But regardless, what you can learn in this month, it is selfish to not do this, because maybe you will learn one thing, and by learning that one thing, you can literally save someone's life in a session. And you wouldn't know if that one thing is in there, but you will after you go to that link, use Dojo Love, and get the first month free. So check it out, save that link. Other than that, dude, it was awesome having you. I will be in contact to hopefully arrange again sometime in the future. Yes. But everyone, you can just say thank you and goodbye. And it was an awesome session today.
Thank you, David.
Thanks, David.
Yeah, thank you, David.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
All right. Peace, guys.